Hello and welcome to my evaluation of my A2 production. When I began the production, it was essential to research similar products in order to know what I was aiming for and to gain professionalism. From this, I could now know the conventions needed. For example, my target audience, after research, I found were a hegemony that could be defined as indie punk. Therefore, I researched products similar to this. Both of these are simplistic yet still appealing, which is something that I used in order to create my ancillary product. Jeff Buckley was of an indie culture, and this video carried a lot of obscure effects in which caught the audience's attention. I used a similar technique to project war images over my star to create texture. A few of this genre have also stated that they prefer obscure things in which will catch their attention and therefore intrigue the audience. From research to do my gratifications, I found that females would be more likely to feel empathetic towards a character in a music video, which means that it's maybe more important for me to produce at least some footage that will make females empathetic. Note that girls, since it's a male lead singer, are stereotypically more likely to feel obliged to listen and watch as he is seen as a heroic figure, whereas males are more likely to appeal to the likes of violence. Though there may be a personal meaning to the song to the artist which both male and female adolescent could appeal to, whereas Seether's video carried out more meaning, which is why I thought these shots would be relevant. Consider the lyrics of my song. I used a similar technique of stop frame animation and signs for semiotics to give a deeper meaning, something my audience preferred. As to Chakra, I used key lines of the song to emphasize the protest with the lyrics. My video reflected the beat of the music in connection to Goodwin to emphasize the melancholic features, this being reactionary for an acoustic genre. Therefore, I decided to combine the majority of my influences together to make sure I have as many possible to aid my audience's gratifications, things that I kept in mind when producing my music video. These were to create something that will grab the attention of the teenagers, important issues within the world today, something empathetic for the girls, something violent for the boys, something that they can relate to, and something that they can interpret for themselves. My music video and print products form a coherent campaign for the new release as it applies to the specific feature the audience have stated. For example, for my ancillary products, I asked people on a band website on a forum for my target audience to see what they preferred. Be strong enough to capture attention, clever, different, and maybe have multiple meanings. It's to be original, artistic, and has to give an idea of what kind of work the album is going to contain. The star is to appear heroic, hence this low angle shot with the female gaze in opposition to the male gaze. This is a pan. Transitions were also created in order to create a heaven-like and heroic effect. As the song itself is for an indie punk genre, I made sure to include products such as image that can produce a more punk effect to appeal to the audience. As for the Mason scene, I used a pink light to go in cohesion with the female gaze and a black casual t-shirt to emphasize the friendly indie culture personality. A spotlight was also used to emphasize the hero. Samples of preferred readings in my music video is created by stop frame animation and Enigma codes.
Sort of see that it's about war, it's clearly about war, and then he's like against it. Like you can, well, if you listen properly to the lyrics, but even though you can like tell as well, and you can see like on the other images of when he's like holding up the signs, it sort of speeds up. So that sort of editing, that's kind of like speeds up. So then you can see that he's in a hurry to get rid of war, if that's a deeper sort of meaning to the video. So
this is dominant ideology, which I hope the audience will interpret these meanings correctly and accept them, which they have.
A deeper meaning of there's no point in having such war about us, and it's that we should really stand up against it and stop all this stupid fighting. And
yeah, I think a lot of it's just maybe not even war as such, just like fighting between friends and stuff. It's just like there's not really much point in it.
No, and how like there's the two separate when the people are standing up and showing the signs, there's sort of like the beach behind her sort of just symbolises like peace.
Yeah,
in the
it's
video.
a good juxtaposition of peace with war.
Yeah, so it just sort of contrasts like what's really happening in the world today.
Yeah,
of like how
it's like the impression of, while we're here having fun playing on the beach, there's people fighting.
And it really shouldn't be like that. So that seems like the deeper meaning behind the music video.
this being a hegemonic position as the audience accepts the preferred reading, though there is also a negotiated position as there is a mix of accepting the preferred reading and taking on alternative positions when they observe the lyrics they were given a meaning that war is a terrible attribute, though they also extended this and took a theoretical approach. The use of war footage being an iconic signifier.
I enjoyed that it started off with like sort of showing the name of the song, as in like those like big explosions.
My main star would be the protagonist within the music video. The star appears heroic as he protests against war. Typical man that is liked by women are sometimes favoured if they have done something to help others, as then this way they appear more sensitive. It is more so an objective character identity.
It's only got really the one main character to it. There's only that it's like the one guy who seems like the heroic person in the whole song. So he's like sort of just by himself singing, and that gives him more meaning than having loads of girls dancing about him and things.
Yeah.
So that sort of makes him more individual and like different. And the way you've done it, how there's like
the clips as well.
Yeah, the clips in the background, how it's like sort of reflected up onto him with the projector or something like that, however you did it that way, but yeah.
Going well in accordance to McQuail, Bloomer and Brown's four main categories of uses and gratifications. Personal relationships could strengthen connections with friends in a sense of something that they all agree with, though more so surveillance with knowledge of the world and personal identity, in the sense that they can connect with the star and gain self-esteem or even understanding of self. I like the way it keeps to one style, very holistic. I like that it's different. I like the mystery. This linking to the genre and how the star persona is to be portrayed. As for technology, I used a blog to keep up to date with my work and show my progress whilst updating it regularly. This linking in well with the progression as I kept the same blog throughout AS and A2. The Canon SLR camera using the manual settings. For this live shot, I used it without a tripod, using the TV setting, meaning you can control the shutter speed with the ISO. Since it was a dark area, I estimated an ISO of about 800 or 1600 and a shutter speed of about 1/30, whereas for the front cover of the CD it was in daylight, therefore I used an ISO of about 200 and a shutter speed of about 1/250. These are edited in Adobe Photoshop using levels, contrast, saturation levels, overlay and the lasso tool. When using the video camera, I changed the exposure settings and shutter speed. For example, a slower shutter speed when doing the studio shoot as it was a darker atmosphere, although I had to make sure I also kept up the exposure, as if the shutter speed was really slow, the images being projected in the background wouldn't have worked properly. I used a tripod when doing this and also used the dolly at times to create a pan. For some other shots I also used the camera to film a freehand. When in Adobe Premiere, I would use similar techniques as in Photoshop, such as colour correction and levels to gain the correct white balance, but I also use specific editing techniques such as transitions created by using keyframes while the footage is on the timeline.